We are live. Welcome back, Teach Better family. I'm so excited this Tuesday morning to be with you with another fantastic guest and a featured speaker for Teach Better 22. If you're joining us today, my name is Joshua Stamper. I am the training and development specialist for the Teach Better team, and I have the fantastic opportunity to speak with a featured speaker, Darcy Bakkegard, and she is connected several ways to the team. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about her session, but just need to go through some quick things. Our Teach Better 22 conference is coming up in just a few weeks. I can't believe it. October 14th and 15th in Akron, Ohio. So if you want more information for that, if you're not registered, definitely go to teachbetterconference.com and you're going to find a full schedule. You're going to find some of the podcasters that will be there on Podcast Row. You're going to find some sponsors, some books, all kinds of different things that will be featured. And we are so excited to see everyone at that event. Just a reminder, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Twitch, all the social media. And so if you have missed any of our previous episodes where we're talking to our featured speakers, make sure you go onto either our Facebook or our YouTube page. You can check out all of the different sessions from our speakers. And then, of course, throughout this conversation, hopefully you are jumping into the conversation. You are dropping hellos, questions, comments, and I'm going to throw those comments up onto the screen as we're having this conversation. But before we learn more about Darcy, we're going to take a very short break.
So right now, I want to know if you're ready to teach better.
That's the whole mission of this weekend.
Just being here ready to learn and grow and come together like this is awesome.
What are those small changes that can make you better tomorrow than you were today?
All the amazing speakers we have here, wow.
So we have a ton of people here who are published authors, who are writing about education.
Let's get out there and teach better.
We are back, and I'm so excited to have Darcy with me. So Darcy, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit about how you are feeling this terrific Tuesday.
I'm feeling great. It's beautiful. The sun is shining. And I was already excited to come to this conference because I've been on a bit of a work hiatus focusing on raising some little kids. And so I was already excited to get back into having conversations with teachers. And I love everything that is the focus of that promo, because that is what it's about, right? Of helping all of us as educators teach better so that our students have better learning experiences. And one of the things I love about conferences like this and actually being able to connect in person, this is great. I love being able to talk to you virtually, but the joy and the energy that you get when you're able to connect to other like-minded educators at a conference like this, I don't think there's a value you can place on that of what it fills in you as a professional. So that was an exciting little commercial. Thanks for sharing that, because now I'm even more excited to get out to Akron.
Yeah, I love the promo, and I love just seeing kind of the memories of 2019 and just what we're all longing for, which is that in-person experience again. And I couldn't agree more. I'm so excited to meet yourself and so many fantastic educators. And Darcy, you had mentioned that you have made a shift in your world, and I just want to learn more about you. So if you wouldn't mind just sharing about your educational journey.
Yeah, I went to an undergraduate. I got my undergraduate degree in theater and then worked in the professional theater space for a few years and realized what I'd been fighting all along, that I'm a teacher. Like, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, it doesn't matter what realm I'm in. So I went back and got my master's in education and an English degree at the same time so that I could teach English and theater. And then I've taught everything from reading strategies for kids who were struggling to AP Lit and Comp, 7th grade through 12th grade, the whole gamut, rural, suburban, international schools. So I love teaching. I love trying different things, working on different collaborations, anything that can help spark joy for students. A few years ago, I made a shift to designing professional development to try to bring back the joy for teachers and to try to help design the type of professional development that I always wanted. At worst, I felt like sometimes I would sit at professional development and feel like I know this sounds awful, but I could be cleaning my classroom right now and it
Yeah.
would have a greater impact on my teaching tomorrow than what is happening in this session. But the best professional development always got me super excited, and I would get all of these ideas. And then I would be very frustrated because a lot of them wouldn't make it back to my classroom because of life, the reality of everything on the teacher's to do list. So I started designing professional development that could be immediately useful, relevant, and had built in structures to help teachers design the implementation piece before they left the professional development, and to help increase the likelihood that it actually helped them teach better and helped them improve teaching and learning for students.
I love it. And Darcy, you're going to be joining us for Teach Better 22, and I would love to hear about your session. And if someone's going to be joining you, what are they going to learn about?
They're going to learn about what they want to do as an educator. So we'll do a little bit of brainstorming and reflection. What are some things that bring you joy as a teacher? What are some things that you see bringing students joy? But then also, what are some obstacles that are currently sucking the joy out of teaching and learning, either for you or for students? Because it's a two-way. If we are joyful as educators, it's hard for our students to not be joyful learners. And I taught juniors and seniors. I mean, I had the most apathetic students you could imagine. But if you are joyful and excited about what you're teaching, it's really hard, even at 7:40 a.m. for an 18-year-old, to not jump on board with that a bit. So we're going to think about what are some things that are making it harder to get excited about learning for you or students. And then we're going to reflect on all of the amazing speakers and sessions from Teach Better 22. And I will coach you through a process that helps you design an implementation plan so that when you leave Akron, whether you're getting on a plane or in a car or however you're leaving the conference that Saturday, you have a plan for what you're going to use and how you're going to do it in the classroom, whether it's the following week or a couple months from now. Because I don't want all of the amazing inspiration from this conference to fall out of your brain, because that's what frequently happened to me, that I would have all these great ideas and then it would kind of just fall out of my brain, about 50% of it. So we're going to try to capture those ideas so you have a plan to teach better.
It's so true. And I can think of my own experience of going to conference, being super excited. I'm like, I'm going to do this tomorrow. And then, a couple weeks later, very little, if anything, has been implemented just because of the business of life. And I think that's so huge what you're providing within your session as far as the reflection process. And I'm just guessing that you've had some experience with reflecting and helping teachers in that reflective process. So what are some tools that you like to provide for teachers to be able to do such a thing each week?
An easy thing to do is to think about what is filling my cup right now. So what are the things that you love? Are there topics that you love teaching about? Are there tools that you love using, but you just haven't figured out how to use them in your classroom? Are there podcasts that you're listening to and things that you're reading and you're getting these little seeds of ideas? Have a mechanism for jotting those things down. And I keep saying this word joy, but that's truly how I feel about it. Like, we should be finding things that make us joyful and excited about teaching. So what are your teaching joys? And have a method for capturing them. I use Google Keep on my phone. So I have my little Google Keep app on my phone so I can jot down ideas as they occur to me. And then I can pull them up on my computer. So that's one thing that I think is important. I also think it's important, as much as I'm talking about being joyful and positive, you have to acknowledge what's not working. Whether it's not working for you or for your students or for your building. If something is toxic or not joyful, if it's not working, if it's killing your love of teaching, then you owe it to yourself and to your students to at least try to resolve that. So the other thing that we'll be talking about are what are some of those things. There are some big issues that we can't solve in a session, that they're systemic issues, but that doesn't mean that we can't try to find some workarounds. A simple example, if you teach in an area with high poverty and you know one of the things that's making learning hard is students are coming to school hungry, how can we design a process to collect and gather quick, easy breakfast items so that kids can grab something right in your classroom? If they're hungry and they're in your classroom, let's feed them so they can learn. Because if we're not taking care of that, learning is going to be that much harder. So even something like that, we can't solve, unfortunately, in one 50-minute session, generational poverty. But maybe we can start to think about what are the obstacles that are preventing students from being successful and start tackling them. A colleague of mine used to say, it's great to vent. We need to vent. We need to release it. But then we need to reinvent. We need to take that venting and do something with it, because otherwise that negativity is just going to weigh us down like a water balloon. We need to find a way to take that negative, turn that problem into a possibility of what could this look like. And I've loved doing this process with teachers. I teach a personalized PD course, and I've had teachers come to it because they were handed a curriculum for teaching. Reading is one that stands out, and they didn't like it. They were experienced veteran teachers, and they were given a curriculum by the district, and they were told, this is the curriculum you're using. They hated the curriculum. They thought it was going to kill the love of reading, not do what it was supposed to do. So they worked through the design process, and with a little side coaching and this process that we'll use at the conference, they were able to design ancillary pieces to supplement. So they were able to do what they are technically required to do, use the curriculum, but she was able to design the things that will actually continue to spark a love of reading and embed those in. And so instead of doing all the worksheets, turning some of those things into Flipgrid response, or flip activities. Excuse me, I'm still not used to the new lingo on Flipgrid is flip now.
Yes.
So I love things like that, that when there's a problem that you're faced with, don't ignore it, even if it feels like a big problem, like your district gave you curriculum that you hate. That's a big problem. So how can you work within that problem to turn it into a possibility for better teaching and better learning?
Well, your answer resonated with some folks as you got some likes on Facebook. So that's awesome. Just again, if you want any questions to be thrown Darcy's way, just throw those in the comments. I already saw some green hearts for you also. Darcy, that's what we use at Teach Better, right? Is the green hearts at the conference and with our 12-hour lives. But I want to talk about some resources because you have a wealth of information out there for teachers. You know, you support teachers in coaching, but then you're also an author. So will you just share a little bit about your book, Startup Teacher Playbook?
Absolutely. The Startup Teacher Playbook, I co-wrote with a great friend of mine, Michelle Blanchett. And we were two high school teachers turned mostly moms who were frustrated, like I said, with professional development. But not only frustrated with professional development, I'll just be blunt, frustrated with the lack of respect, autonomy, and empowerment that is given to teachers. There are so many experts, and I realize I'm saying this as someone who is a professional development coach, but no one knows what your students need more than you. You, the person in the classroom in front of children, you are the person who is in the best position to solve challenges and to make teaching and learning better for those kids that are in your room. So I was always really frustrated that that's not how education works. We get these solutions and these answers handed down to us instead of looking at the people who are right there and saying, what do you need? And what do you think, as the experts in this field, would help improve teaching and learning? So the Startup Teacher Playbook is really about that, is about saying, you, teacher in the classroom, you are an expert in your field. You have the capability, but also the right to design solutions to challenges that you're facing. If you don't do it, who else is going to? And one of the things that I love about it, for me, And I think this is true of a lot of teachers. I became a teacher because I wanted to help. Like, right? It wasn't just about helping kids read books and helping them explore theater or whatever my content was. I wanted to help kids. I wanted them to rekindle their love of learning. I wanted them to get excited about their passions and to find out what they were good at. And the Startup Teacher Playbook is also about that, about rekindling your passion as a teacher and getting back to that why. Why did you become a teacher in the first place? And it probably wasn't for the canned curriculum. It probably wasn't for some of these other things that we're required to do. So, how can we, again, work within some of the boxes that we're put in as teachers to rekindle our own passions so that more amazing teachers actually stay in the classroom? So, the Startup Teacher Playbook takes you through a little bit of our why, which I just summarized, and it takes you through something that we call the Educator Canvas. And it's a simple one-page document, a graphic organizer, if you will. We have it available for free at theeducatorslab.com. You can download the tool and use it for yourself or for students. But it asks you to identify what is the problem you're trying to address, what is the solution you're designing, and then it walks you through the basic hurdles that, as I was leading professional development workshops, teachers would have these amazing ideas and I would go, okay, do it. And they would go, yeah, but, and they would already be hearing all of the no's that people were going to throw at them. So Michelle and I were also really frustrated with that. We were like, these teachers have it. They've got it. But all of these no's are stopping them before they've even tried something. And I totally get that because I almost gave up on a couple projects because of all the negativity around me. And I kept going back to, no, this is better for kids. I have to keep trying to find a way to do this. So we developed the Educator Canvas as a quick sheet so that you can capture your ideas and think through some of those no's and design workarounds. How are you going to ignore that person? How are you going to bring that no onto your team so that they become a yes? So what are you going to do? And then the other sections in the book are about self-care, nurturing these essential traits that as we've done workshops with hundreds of teachers, we've seen the basic traits that seem to come up over and over again that make the difference of someone who's willing to try and someone who stops because of the no's, which again, we totally get. I totally understand the no's. And then we have a teacher as leader section, because whether we are treated as leaders or not, teachers are leaders. You are leading a group of students in your classroom. You are an expert in your field, in your content. You are an expert on what the children in front of you need. And teachers need to be empowered as leaders for projects, for designing solutions. And so we have a whole section in the book that is all about building your leadership skills and how do you navigate some of those toxic people that unfortunately are probably in your building. I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, I knew all of these toxic people. And I'm like, yeah, I worked with all of them. I wrote that section, and that is all the people that were around in my building telling me no and sometimes preventing me from trying things. So it's a lot of strategy and a lot of tools and resources that are all collectively designed to just help you start up your ideas so they actually get to the classroom, to take that professional development inspiration from podcasts, from articles, from blogs, from conferences, and ensure that it makes it into the classroom so that in the end, you can not only be serving your students better, but you can be nurturing and feeding your joy and passion as a teacher so that you are just a better you.
I love it. And you are so right. I mean, unfortunately, so many people are conditioned to think that the no is coming to move on and not potentially go toward their passion or a brilliant idea. And so for anyone watching, yes, if you're a leader, get out of the way, say yes to these brilliant
Yes.
people that are in your building, right? I love Darcy. Make sure everyone that is listening or watching, check out that book. And right around the corner here, we're going to be Teach Better 22 in Akron, Ohio. And I want to know, what is your strategy for the conference? There is so many people on the docket that are fantastic speakers. And I'm always curious on how people are going to go into this conference and strategize how they're going to be able to do everything at the conference. Do you have anything that you want to share as far as your strategy?
I did go in since I'm registered. And so you can go in and you can look at the sessions ahead of time. So I did try, like I've already tried to pre-plan my schedule. And who knows what's going to happen the day of, because I'm sure I'm going to meet people and hear people. And now I've met you. And so I'm open to being flexible. But that's one strategy that I used. I did try to go in because there is so much happening. There's so much amazing content, and try to strategize. A potential strategy would be to look at who does have a book. And so perhaps, and this isn't about selling books, but perhaps for your time, maybe you're like, ooh, I want to get the Startup Teacher Playbook. So I'm not going to attend Darcy's session because I've listened to this launch. I understand her methodology in the nutshell. And so I'm going to get her book so that I can attend a different session, and then I'm going to use this. I would highly encourage you to come to the session. Obviously, I want you there. I want to hear your ideas. It's selfish on my part because I get energy when I see teachers having that light bulb moment of, it's the teacher in me, like whether it's high schoolers, middle schoolers, or teachers. I was never in elementary classroom. I love that. I love when people go, oh my God, like I'm actually going to do this with my students. Like I'm going to do this like tomorrow when I get home. That's the best. So please come to my session. I love hearing what you have taken away. And I would argue, come to my session because we will be talking about that. What are the amazing ideas you've heard throughout the conference? Mine is one of the last sessions on Saturday. So we'll also be able to use it as a micro debrief of some of the best strategies and some of the best nuggets of information that everyone has discovered in all of the sessions. So feel free to come to my session to kind of mine and harvest the ideas of other people. But otherwise, get on that conference page. It's really well organized and really easy to just kind of see those session summaries and pick out what is resonating for you. And I would back feed it. Last tip. I know I'm just rambling here, but last tip.
Good tips.
Think about what isn't serving you right now. What are your current frustrations? So I've been talking a lot about the joys, but also the problems. Think about those problems and then think strategically. Are there sessions that you think might help you address some of the things that are killing your joy of teaching right now? And seek out those sessions that you think might be able to help you combat something that isn't working right now.
No, these are great strategies. And anyone that's listening, make sure that you are checking Darcy's presentation out. Again, we're going to be at Akron, Ohio. If you haven't signed up yet, make sure you do that at teachbetterconference.com. And then, Darcy, if someone is listening and they want to connect with you on social media, maybe check out your book. I know you have other resources like your online course. So how can they connect with you in all of those different facets?
TheEducatorsLab.com is the website, and my contact information is available there. Reach out via Twitter at @Bakkegard. I don't know if you can throw that information somewhere. I unfortunately didn't spell out my last name. I'm noticing on there, but Bakkegard, Bakkegard. You can find it at the Teach Better site as well. Search for me for some blogs on tech integration and using gratitude in the classroom. And reach out. This is, I always feel like I'm a little cheesy, but I legitimately get this excited talking about teaching ideas. And if you wanted to talk about curriculum for your classroom, I will get equally this excited. Like this is, I just love it. I love talking to teachers. I love supporting teachers. So I would love to connect with you and share. I'm a resource sharer. If there's anything that I've ever created for my classroom that could help you serve you in your classroom, I'm happy to share it. And I would love to connect and come to your school and help your school tackle problems, help your team tackle problems and design solutions in person or virtually. So at @Bakkegard on Twitter. And I'm happy to share my email address that maybe Josh can throw up there as well.
Yeah. And then theeducatorslab.com is the website. So make sure you're checking out Darcy on social media. And then again, it's DBAKKEGARD for Twitter. And then, of course, our conference is going to be very, very soon, October 14th and 15th in Akron, Ohio. So make sure you go to teachbetterconference.com. You're going to be able to find the schedule, a way to register, and of course, all of the many different events that are occurring. And I don't know about you, Darcy, but one of the most fun things that are going on in the conference is after all the sessions, we do a social event each night, and you get to meet all of the fantastic speakers and educators that are in attendance. So I'm super excited for those and to meet you and so many other fantastic people at the conference. I'm so excited. So Darcy, I appreciate you today coming this morning to share a little bit about yourself, about your book, and about your session. And I can't wait to see everyone very, very soon.
Me too. Thanks, Josh.
So right now, I want to know if you're ready to teach better.
That's the whole mission of this weekend.
Just being here ready to learn and grow and come together like this is awesome.
What are those small changes that can make you better tomorrow than you were today?
All the amazing speakers we have here. Wow.
So we have a ton of people here who are published authors, who are writing about education.
Let's get out there and teach better.